Peace world, my name is Rich Beecher and today I'm going to be taking you through 7 steps of improving your jazz drumming, getting it a lot faster. Just to be clear, I'm not the best jazz drummer in the world, I'm far from it, but I have played jazz for a long time and I've played drums for even longer, and there's lots of things that I've learned throughout my years of practicing and playing that I wanted to put into a video to share with you. If I'm practicing a particular style, I like to hone my kit so it actually kind of reflects what I'm playing. So to be playing jazz, I've deliberately stripped back my kit. It means I don't have any temptation to, play other things, and when I sit down, I'm just going to focus on what it is that I want to do. You could play a much larger kit, and of course you can still practice jazz on a much larger kit, but I know for me personally, the more cymbals I've got, the more fun and games I've got, the less likely I'm going to sit and actually focus on a particular thing. When you play your regular ride pattern, this is what you're normally playing as a swung pattern. However, when you get faster, you want to be able to crush those notes. So I'm going to play it a lot slower so you can hear the difference in sound. So it's going to sound like this. But it's effectively a lot easier to play that pattern much faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start slow with it being swung, and as I gradually get faster, I'm going to make it quite obvious that I've switched to that straight ride pattern, and that's going to really help you improve your speed. So let's just have a listen to that as it gets faster. One of the most basic ways I'd suggest doing this, and I will slow it right down, is to play this pattern. So at speed that will sound like this. Obviously there are a whole other ways you can, chop and change your ride pattern. Kind of a subtle way it can allow you to just play faster for long periods of time. So I'll just show you a range of chopping and changing that ride pattern, but so I can maintain the speed without getting absolutely exhausted, because it is just so tiring. So let's have a listen to that. Now it might sound groovy, but ultimately I'm just chilling and I'm not really doing anything too complicated. Ultimately, it just sounds more complicated when played fast. This is a really simple thing to do. It will take very, very little practice, but you might find actually really helps you. If you play right down at the edge of your cymbal, obviously you're going to get a lot more movement from the cymbal. Wherefore if you're going right closer to your belt, you're going to get a much more rigid feel, which will allow you to bounce the stick off far easier. Now, I won't lie, a lot of this depends on what ride cymbal you're using. A lot of it can depend on the size. I actually use quite a small ride cymbal, it's only 20 inches. But if you're using a big 24-inch ride, you probably notice the difference. Likewise, this is a dark ride, it's pretty heavy, but if you're using something very thin, you're going to find it's got a load more wash at the end. So just literally by moving your stick closer, just have a play around with it. You might think actually it doesn't really make much of a difference to you. If you go too close to the bell, obviously you're going to lose a lot of that kind of general sound. Play around and you'll find something that works with you. Obviously a lot can depend on, you know, the kind of piece you're playing, but if we're putting a snare regularly, and this is what our normal pattern would be. So if you're struggling to play that pattern at speed, but you still want that kind of snare sound, you can put the snare isolated, followed by 2 rides, and you're still going to get the same overall pattern. It won't sound quite the same, but it will keep you going, especially if you're struggling to maintain that speed of the song. So that pattern would then sound like this. Another good one to try is using your hi-hat as part of that pattern. Now, don't be afraid to really open up this hi-hat, get proper chick from it. That pattern's going to sound like this. This is so hard to do and it will take a lot of practice. I am continuously trying to get better at doing this. So effectively what we want is our feet to become a metronome, where if our hands are slowing down and making mistakes, we are relying on our feet to keep ourselves going. So the feet are going to really stick with the track. Now, obviously there's a whole range of different foot patterns you could play. I really like just constantly playing the hi-hat, but some people might want to focus more on their kick drum. You might have a movement between the both. So this is going to be my hi-hat, just focusing, continuously playing. Thank you so much, left foot, because without you I would have struggled so much playing that pattern. I know for a fact that I've spent so many times I'll come down to the kit, I'll try and play a ride pattern, I'll try and play a double time swing pattern, I can't do it, and I just give up immediately. I'll put up the metronome and I'll think, oh, I'm going to try and play along to this at whatever BPM it is. It's probably way too fast for me to do. I'll give it a go, I'll play it for about 4 bars, completely fall apart, and then just think, well, this is just not for me. I can't play, I am not a jazz drummer, okay? That's not me. Well, actually, you know, I can do it. I just need to slow that tempo down a little bit. But what's going to help me is by playing for a long period of time. And when I say a long period of time, you know, I mean putting on a song. I'm playing throughout that entire song. And then straight away afterwards, putting on a song that's slightly faster. I'm maintaining that whole song. When I put all those different things into process, I'm going to try and crush the rides, move around what my ride pattern is to try and give me a bit of breathing space as I'm doing it. I'm going to chop and change. Sometimes my other limbs are going to cover me on those beats. Really focus on my feet, keeping me up to speed with that track. And you know, over time I'll realise that I will be able to play for much longer periods, because ultimately, whilst it's great to have a few tricks up your sleeve, the more time you spend practicing it, just the easier it is for you. Right, thank you so much. I hope you found something useful from this video. Lots of love and I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.